tell people. Hello everyone, we're just going through setup at the moment and we will be using voice for this. Hang on. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, we'll be using voice for this. Yes, and everyone, set up your voice to hear your voice so that you hear voice from the camera position, so it's not too faint. But we do have the chat repeat, which hopefully will help you to hear us wherever you're sitting. Dawny, our wonderful stage manager, will put that on. Or possibly Zelm, who's an equally wonderful stage manager, will be putting that on. Excellent. Thank you, Keith. Hi, Alaska. You're back again. Ah, that's the link, is it? Good. Let me have a look. I don't know what chimichangas are, I'm afraid, Mike. So I can't offer them in a complimentary way. But I could probably offer cake, if that would help. I can't organise it today, but I will organise it for Ebe's talk tomorrow. I will make sure that we have cake and tea and be very civilised. Okay. So, great. This is the link I've got.
Naked Cowboys.
Okay. Are you guys ready to start? Great. Do you want to make sure Second Life voice is on?
How about now? Test. There we go. Should have it now.
Okay. Can you hear Patch? And Keira?
Yay.
Test, test. I don't think I have it. I see a dot, though.
I see a dot, too. Do you want to try? Oh, they can hear you. Zyla can hear you.
Hello!
Yeah, I think it's a bit laggy here. I'm not seeing my dot all the time, but I think people can hear me. So let's gamble that they can.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, so I would like... Hello everyone, thank you all for coming. Thank you to Patch and Keira for coming. Keira, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, you are.
Good. Okay, because I'm notoriously bad with pronouncing names. I usually let Elric do the tricky ones. It's quite difficult to swing the script sometimes, but I usually manage it. So, thank you for joining us. Little about your backgrounds, first of all. Then I'm going to ask some general questions, and I've got some extra questions for you. Actually, I think I might kick off with one of those. And then we'll take questions from the audience. They will be firing questions at us, and hopefully they will... I've got people collecting the questions and they'll give them to me. You can ask questions if you are online. Okay, I'm just testing the repeater now. Can you let me know if you can just see what I've just typed?
Yeah, I don't think it's on. Usually you see it kind of talk back at us.
Yeah. Can we get it put on?
Donnie says it's on.
Okay, great.
Maybe try again?
Yeah.
There it goes.
Good. Excellent. Okay, so to start off with, can I ask you both a bit about what you do at the lab?
Who wants to go first? I'll go first. Okay. Okay, so I guess as far as my title is concerned, I'm the Senior Director of Product Operations. That's actually a pretty big wheelhouse for us. I'm responsible for all of support in Second Life and Sansar, and our content creation team in Second Life. I have 5 individual support teams that report up to me in the content creation team. So it's a pretty big bunch of wonderful folks that I work with every day.
Wow, that's a huge role. And so you're making decisions on a daily basis, really, to keep the whole thing going.
Yep, pretty much. Both land and accounts are kind of my baby. I oversee their daily operation on a pretty regular basis. Kind of the running joke is with a lot of people is if something happens with land or accounts and stuff like that with product decisions in Second Life, you can sometimes blame me. I'm not the only one who makes the decisions, but usually I'm kind of up there in the food chain when it comes to pressing the go button on that stuff.
Right. And Keira, what about you?
I am the supervisor of the product operations team, otherwise known as the LAN team. I have Guy, Midori, Bianca, Izzy, Conan, Forge under me, helping to take care of mainland, get those mainland parcels sold to everybody who wants one. That's kind of our big push right now. Also, kind of taking on our community projects, like our community way, and help to manage the mole team.
Right. Keeping those moles in order, I would have thought, was a pretty full-time job in itself.
I think sometimes they're keeping me more in order sometimes than the other way around.
So, there's recently been a change which has figured on the roadmap, which is that the amount of land that people can have, premium members can have, has doubled from 512 to 1024. Is that the right figure?
Right. That's correct for the actual included free premium tier.
Mm. And I understand that's proved pretty popular.
Yeah, we've seen a pretty big uptake in mainland since we launched that. As we also, as you're probably aware, we adjusted the prices on mainland down a bit to kind of help stimulate some growth there, and so far it's been pretty successful, as Keira can probably attest to with how busy her team's been.
Absolutely.
This is what I've heard, that you lot have been rushed off your feet with sales.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to be busy with, and we still have lots of mainland out there. So if anybody out there has a premium account or upgrades to premium and needs mainland, send in your support ticket. My team will take care of you.
Yeah, one of the things that we sometimes hear from too, and I'll just add on to that really quick, is folks sometimes don't know that they can actually come to us and ask for a particular parcel of mainland, if it's available and stuff, and there's no ownership claims. We actually have loosened up our rules and restrictions that a lot of people have been familiar with over the years, where, we say you have to own so much within the same region and around the borders of the parcel and this, that, and the other. We've actually loosened those requirements up almost nothing. We still try to take a fair approach where we can. If we see a potential for an ownership collision or request collision, but we pretty much are just kind of selling it as people come ask for it.
Right. I know that I've been able to get an extra parcel. I've got my Linden home, which I really didn't want to give up, but I was able to get an extra parcel, and I put a little cafe out on that, and that's been really fun to do. I actually bought the land from a friend, but now of course I don't have to pay rent on it.
Nice.
That's an interesting question from Alaska. I'm going to pick up on it now. Is Governor Linton an alt name of someone specific in your department?
Me. Huh?
Okay, coughs and splutters and not.
It is a shared account. I'm primarily responsible for it, but sometimes you'll have either Keira or Guy or somebody on the land team hopping on and off of it. But yeah, the governor's account's kind of been also in our wheelhouse.
Right. Yeah, because it's very useful to have that. Someone who can come in, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you ever see the governor get drug out to events, especially if I'm present, there's probably a good chance it's me.
Okay. So I was going to ask, how did you come to work at Linden Lab? I know, Patch, that you were a resident long and then became an employee.
Yeah, so long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Yes, I had my resident alt, going back to 2004, and I was a fairly large male clothing designer in World on my resident account, and I used to do a lot of stuff with Second Life mentors and doing a lot of volunteer work. Between that and running my store and stuff, a Linden, I think, kind of took notice of how busy I was and how active I was in the community, especially with the volunteer corps and mentors, and kind of threw my name, I guess, at the right people at the right time, specifically Shar and Mick, who unfortunately are no longer here at the lab. But they approached me and said, so, people have kind of taken note of you doing a really good job taking care of your customers and stuff like that. We're looking at growing our customer support team. Are you interested in applying? And I said, well, sure. At that point in time, it seemed like the right thing to do because I was kind of like, I was really happy with what I was doing as far as the volunteer work, and I loved helping new residents and stuff like that come into Second Life. And I was like, I just saw this as like the next step in an evolution of steps for me being able to kind of go further and help more people. That's how I kind of got on board was through that.
Right. What about you, Keira?
Very similar, actually. I came into Second Life after my husband showed it to me for the first time, and I was really heavily involved with some fundraising communities in the world and did some fundraising events for charities, for real-world charities. Got involved with the mentor program as well, and with the background that I had, I thought, well, this is something that I could actually do, and noticed that they were hiring, and so I tossed my resume in and talked to Shar a few times and decided it was definitely a good fit for me and for the team.
Are you both based in San Francisco, or are you kind of more remote? Am I allowed to ask that?
Yeah, you're certainly allowed to ask. I don't mind sharing. Some people are, of course, more private about this than others. But we actually have, offices in various cities, San Francisco being the main. We have an office now in Atlanta. And in fact, that is where a lot of the support staff operate out of, is in Georgia. Some of them remote, some of them work here in the office. I put this office in here about 1.5 years ago myself, having after worked remotely for Linden Lab for almost 10 years. And I just decided that it was kind of time to put down a base of operations so that the team could get together and have a place to meet and do things like weekly lunches and fun events together and stuff like that, training, yada, yada, yada. And so that's kind of where that evolved from over the past year and a half that it's been here. And I think it's really been a good asset to us having done that.
Of course, back in the day, you used to have offices in a variety of countries. Jack Linden was based in the UK, but I guess it's pretty much just in America now, is it?
Yeah, mostly. The only kind of worldwide hiring that we do is, contractor-based, like the moles, for example, being that they're freelancers. They are all over the world. I've got Romania, UK, Germany, France, you name it. They're everywhere.
Right. Yes, I know the moles. When I hear them talk, you can hear all the different accents, which is wonderful.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask you a bit about the moles. First of all, can you explain, in case anyone doesn't, the moles are?
So the moles are the content creation team for Second Life. All of the various kind of like game experiences, mainland infrastructure, the info hubs, welcome areas, the gift content and stuff that's produced for the premium account subscriptions, the new starter avatars, the new user onboarding experience, such as Learning Island, Social Island, which we're actually doing a lot of different things with currently. That's kind of exciting. That's all stuff that the team actually puts out. And marketing, photo work and stuff like that. Also, we work a lot with marketing, doing wonderful things with them, hand in hand, doing images and stuff like that. Some of you may have seen that the current images, the hero images on secondlife.com, for example, are images that actually feature us, and same thing with the LGBT landing page and stuff that we just did. We actually just produced all of those images and stuff for that. So we do a lot of photo work too for marketing.
And Keira, perhaps I can ask you, how does one become a mole? Do you apply somewhere, or do they have to wait till a hand falls on their shoulder?
You don't have to wait. You can actually apply. We've had some people apply via a support ticket. I have a couple that I'm sitting on right now. A lot of the people that we interview are word of mouth, so from people who are currently moles for us, but also between us as well, running out and getting in World and shopping and seeing what's being created in World. And, you know, we look for people who are doing things new and inventive and different. So we're always on the lookout for that. So we sometimes, you know, tag people and say, hey, you know, we're in your store. We really like your stuff. Would you like to come in and have a chat? And we sit down and talk and see if it's a good fit for them.
So if people here are interested, they need to have a good portfolio and then they can contact you.
Absolutely. Portfolio definitely helps. It helps us get an idea of what their products are, not only what they are selling in their current store or their current marketplace, but we also can see what they've done in the past and what they're working on for the future.
Right. Okay, so another question. What's the best method of contacting people on the product side? And I can give you an example here. A friend wanted to rent the Galaxy for an event, which seems a great idea. He said he ended up contacting 4 different Lindens before someone was able to help. And he wants a shout out for Bianca, who was the one who eventually helped. But he's someone who knows a few Lindens, and most people don't and wouldn't know where to start. Is there any way we could publicise that kind of process? Do you look at the wiki or what?
A lot of times that information's either in the wiki or it's in the knowledge base itself directly. But for product stuff like that in particular, the land operations team, Keira's team, or myself, are the go-tos for it. I've had people reach out to me directly with requests like that, and other various requests, and I will, disseminate it to whoever is best equipped to actually take care of that type of stuff. So contacting myself directly, contacting Keira directly, contacting us via the support case system are all viable options. We certainly don't mind people reaching out to us. Just keep in mind that email is faultless. IMs are sometimes not. So I always ask people to email me directly. Granted, I rarely miss an IM, but what sometimes happens is I'll log in for like a meeting. I'll be like, okay, I see your IM, and I mean to answer it, and then I get sidetracked and I forget, right? And so then it's lost. And nobody's perfect. So I usually just ask people, hey, email me or Keira, or send in a support ticket, and that's the best way to get a hold of us with those types of questions. Because no matter what, if you get the question into the support ticket system, you'll get someone at somewhere in the chain that will have the answer, and we're really good at trying to figure out who that is and make that happen.
Great. And I hadn't realised that you can hire the Galaxy. Can you hire other Linden places?
We're generally open to allowing people to use our various spaces for those types of things. Like I've had people ask to use Farga, which a lot of people are familiar with as being a region that we've saved through the SLRPS program. That's a long-running old example for like weddings and stuff like that. So people will ask me like, "Hey, can we use this for a wedding on such and such a date and time?" And it's like, "Yeah, have at it."
Fantastic. So, can you talk about the work that the moles have been doing here at the birthday? Because there seems to be much more input from the lab and the moles at this particular.
So obviously 15th birthday, right? That's really big, and we recognize that. In fact, I actually started with this last year. And I said, guys, next year, team, this is it. This is a big one for us. This is 15 years for us. And I want to do something really big and really special with the community involved and everything as well. So I put forth a proposal to basically take over, assistance with building the infrastructure for the regions out this year, applying a theme to it, trying to get as much of that to kind of be cohesive between everything as possible. The other kind of key builds, like the welcome areas and like the Tapestry of Time build and stuff like that, which is phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, please do go see it. It's really neat. That's all stuff that the team basically came together with various ideas and thoughts and collaborated on building it all together. We also, of course, worked with the SLB team, the community folks there, Doc, Marianne, Diana, etc. All of them to also kind of get everything else set up as far as they're getting folks to sign up for participation, get their parcel plots, the regions all kind of mapped out. So we had a really big hand in helping with the planning. We actually really enjoyed it. I think everything went really smoothly. The feedback that I've gotten so far at least indicates that, and I think everybody's really enjoying it this year.
I have to say, I think they enjoy it every year, but yeah, I can see why they would be enjoying the builds this year. I haven't had a chance to look around much yet. You say you have, Patch. Keira, have you been looking around?
I have a little bit. I've been really focused on getting the regions up and getting everything set. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to go back out and enjoy, but I did a little bit today. And over the next couple of days, I'll be getting out there some more. The Music Fest is really what I enjoy the most. So definitely when those get started, I'll be hanging out there. Usually hang out and listen in while I'm working. So if you ping me and I'm not being rude. I'm just working.
Yeah. So I was going to, we've had a few questions in, and I was going to say, ask this one from Holger Gilrath, who says, what would you say in the last 15 years was for you the best upgrade? What?
That's a really good question.
That's a hard question.
It's a hard question. I mean, there's so many different angles of approach you can take, right? I mean, if you want me to just be vain about it, of course, everything about our avatar appearance and the improvements that we've made around being able to do things like, meshified bodies and things like that are probably a real big one on my list. But, as far as Second Life and features and product and stuff like that, something that goes straight to the core of it, like experience tools, I think is tremendous. And second to that, things like Bento and Animesh coming up soon are going to, probably be pretty revolutionary in the content creation side of the house. I know we're getting ready to exploit it as far as our content is concerned. You're going to see some really big things coming soon. I think that between that and, then if you want to talk about pricing, of course, pricing going down, that's really big. And, there's more of that to come. So, yeah, we'll see. 15 years worth of that and hopefully another 15 years to go forward with.
Absolutely. Keira, what about you? Is there anything in particular you'd pick out?
Besides all the other stuff that Patch mentioned, because I was going to say Avatar Mesh as well, was really big, even though it took me a while to learn how to use it and get everything right. I think voice was a huge thing for me, being able to, talk to people in voice. I'm not one of those who likes to remain completely anonymous, so I don't mind using voice on my alt and chatting to people. You kind of get a different feel for them if you're speaking to them directly. You can read a lot of stuff into chat, but with voice you can I think read people a little bit better. So voice to me was a big deal.
I think from my perspective, I would say Mesh, because of all the things you can do with it. When it came in, it just kind of revolutionised everything, I think. And there's a couple of people who yelled Mesh in the audience as well. I've got a very long question here, which is very much land related, so I'm going to ask it. Are there any plans to increase the physical space allowed in a sim? I would say region. Given that land impact stands as a restriction on the use of server space per region. And this is from Ebolios, and he says, I can't really see any logical reason why the size you work in should be limited. It seems as though it's mostly land rental based, and so Linden Labs doesn't want to lose money. But that could easily be diverted by having specific rental-based regions versus larger regions, similar to regions versus homestead. And the reason he's interested in this is because he feels that having size restrictions is incredibly limited on allowing roleplay and combat sims to really be viable in any meaningful way. So he was wondering if there would ever be any plans to allow for large area in regions.
Absolutely.
Right.
There you go. we've so let me I'll explain. Okay. We have absolutely thought of this. And we think about it a lot, and there's been many different proposals that we have even come up with internally that have basically said, what would it be like to have like endless looping region borders, and what would it be like to make a 4x sized region, all sorts of different things that we've thrown out on the table over the years. There's one fundamental problem with all of it. We would have to tear down and retool all of Second Life. It's very, very difficult to get away from the 65K squared region size from a map perspective that drives everything about what we see and realize as a space that the simulator controls in Second Life. So it's a very complex problem, and it is something that we're actually working on. You will probably hear some talk about this throughout the week and stuff, especially later in the week. I'm not going to steal anybody else's thunder, but Oz will probably speak to this stuff. But, things like, and this has been said before, so it's not a big secret I'm blowing, but, things like the transition to the cloud and stuff like that are going to help us get closer to enabling those types of products and those types of features going forward. But we've got to kind of get away from this kind of like legacy base infrastructure that's got us tied down to this. How we realize a physical space in Second Life is tied to everything that's 65,536 square meters in size, no matter what, top to bottom, left to right. That's just where we're stuck. And until we get past that, then we can talk about, all of those types of possibilities. But I've seen some really cool, wonderful ideas that have been kind of baking in the background, as it were, and some stuff that we've even tried. We've even had demos of this stuff internally, and it's amazing. But, they're very special, like, controlled environments on a little, like, pop-up server or something like that we've set up for testing, and it's like, woo, we can do this with, like, 4 people before, it's, like, too much. So, things like increasing the region land impact limits and stuff like that to 30K, we've even talked about bringing that up even higher. I've contemplated taking that up, to 40, 45, because the simulator can handle it. We're fairly confident with the performance gains and stuff like that we have achieved over the last 15 years that we won't hurt performance in doing that. It's more about the viewer nowadays than it is the simulator. I mean, look at where you're sitting today and how well the region is actually behaving. It's more the viewer and the rendering side of things that are probably hurting people than it is the simulator. The simulator's sitting here going, haha, I've got 60 people in me and I'm fine.
That's pretty cool. So what else on the roadmap are you particularly interested in?
Okay. From a product perspective, feature perspective, Animesh.
Right.
That's a big one. I think in kind of the near term and stuff like that, the team is going to be looking at how to exploit that. We're also talking about some avatar redesign work. That's probably going to be after Animesh, I'm hoping, if I get my way about it, which could be really kind of revolutionary in how we think about how our avatars are made. Don't freak out. there will always be, of course, backwards compatibility if anything we try to do. But yeah, it's potentially going to be really exciting going forward with some of these things that we're looking at doing.
If people haven't seen this yet, they may be interested in catching up on it. Inara put out a link to a video that Ebby has released, which has both Ebby and Philip Rosedale talking about the 15th birthday. And one of the things that's shown on that is Animesh.
Mm-hmm.
I was particularly interested in the cool dragons with properly rigged with seating and everything. That was very cool.
Yes. One of the things that we're actually thinking about for a project with the LDPW and stuff next, I know you're very familiar with PaleoQuest, and the semi-non-animated dinosaurs that are in there right now. We're thinking about potentially doing an update pass and converting all of that to Animesh and actually being able to have things like full roaming, free, or fully animated, mesh dinosaurs and stuff like that, which would really kind of up the realism in the gameplay.
And would get me killed even more often.
Yes.
I already die all the time. How much more can I be killed?
But in a more spectacular fashion that way.
Oh, thank you. Ziola was saying yesterday there's a special kill Saphir piece of code, just to slip in to make sure that I die all the time when I play Linden games.
Yes, our scripters, they have they usually sneak that one in under the radar, and I don't know about it until it's too late.
Yeah, because I was asking if it was safe to do the hunt, and she said she thought it would be okay, but they might have snuck the kill Saphir code in. Okay, so you said you also have responsibility for Sansar, responsibilities within Sansar. Keira, are you involved in Sansar at all, or are you largely focused on Second Life?
My focus is Second Life. We have a separate support team for Sansar.
Right. And does that kind of stretch you a bit? Do you have days assigned to each, or is it as and when?
No, we literally have a standalone support team that reports to me. They have their own manager. They have their own, support folks and stuff that work within that management line. That's one of the 5 support teams that reports to me. And they are, I hate to say, I don't like to use the word siloed. They are kind of in their own, space within that operation. So they, have their own schedule, their own support hours, their own support ticketing system and everything like that. That's unique to Sansar.com. So if you, are using Sansar and if you need support help or anything, you actually go to them directly and don't actually go through the rest of, like Second Life support organization. They have their own phone lines and everything. And they operate here out of the Atlanta office. So, they're kind of their own baby.
Right. Lenny Foxtrot is saying that you can meet the Sansar Lindens. They're lonely there. So go over and meet them and make friends with them. Okay.
Yeah, they do hang out in Sansar quite a bit.
Right. So, I was also going to say there's been these big changes with land. Are there any more actually in the pipeline?
Yes.
Okay.
There are some pretty big changes to land coming up. In fact, there's a very, very near change that's going to be coming up. Ebbe is going to talk about it with you all tomorrow.
Right. So we've already had good advertisements for coming tomorrow to hear Ebbe, and then coming on Thursday to hear Oz and Grumpety, who'll be talking about the technical side of things. I like this. I like people promoting my later talks.
Yes, I'm just the tease. As usual.
So, there's also plans for an overhaul of Linden homes.
Yes.
Are you able to tell us any more about this?
Yeah, I can. So obviously, kind of, lockstep with the fact that we've increased the amount of, included premium tier that you get with a premium account. Linden Homes, have been a really nice, successful product as far as we're concerned. Folks do seem to enjoy them. They are starting to get a little dated. I actually, funnily, was reading a forum post just recently where people were trying to guess what Lindens were responsible for what, and they actually labeled Molly Linden as the fake name Linden or something like that for the person, that they just used the account to upload the meshes. And sorry to say it, but she actually designed 3/4 of the homes herself and was a Linden working for me. So hate to blow it, but hey, she was actually a real person, and I actually know her in real life. And she's actually still a very large, fairly prolific, arguably one of the best content creators on the grid, in my opinion, today. She's somebody that I actually have thought about bringing back to maybe talk about doing new homes with us. So we'll see. The the models themselves are getting outdated. They weren't mesh. So, we'll probably look at going ahead and doing an update pass, to take them to mesh, to maybe put some more variety into them. We've had a lot of concept ideas and stuff thrown around internally, both from a residential and a mixed residential commercial type perspective. The sizing, of course, too, we would like to remain flexible on, so we might still offer both, like a 512 or a 1024 type parcel-sized home, kind of like what we did with Horizons. We offered a larger parcel and home parcel plot setup and stuff like that. Where you could optionally take the home there. We won't do a land ownership thing like we did with Horizons, but the the foundational core that we built for Horizons will probably be implemented there, where you can choose different styles of houses on your parcel versus being stuck in an area with all the same types of houses and 4 models.
Right, yeah, that would be cool. I've also in the past had discussions with people about giving strong themes, like having a group of brownstones built around a park and, having, and maybe having a lake with houseboats on, like you get in Kerala and also up in the Himalayas.
Yeah, we've got a lot of theme ideas. I think they'll be pretty popular. The one that and I can go ahead and talk a little bit about this, but one of the ideas that we had was kind of the mixed mode kind of commercial / residential setup. Think like the old Victorian homes that usually get the first floor converted into your store and you live above it type of a scenario. So we were thinking kind of something like that for some of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And then have a pub at the end of the street where people can gather.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, that's one of many updates that we're probably going to be doing out of our projects and stuff like that is Linden Homes, and we've got some other stuff cooking too.
Good. I was going to say, Designing Worlds would love to do a show when you're ready to launch the new Linden Homes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Okay, questions are coming in, so I'm going to ask some of these questions. Someone was asking people wanting to move Linden homes, and someone said that you can just give up your current Linden home and get a new one. That's still the case, is it?
Yep. The inflexibility there is still the fact that you can't pick and choose which home you land in next. The system just automatically and randomly assigns you the next available open model in that particular theme that you choose, if there's any open. So you have to be really careful, of course, with the I'm drawing a blank on the name all of a sudden. The kind of modern-ish looking house Meadowbrooks, right. The Meadowbrooks tend to run out of inventory all the time. So if you release a Meadowbrook and somebody snaps it up under you and you're too slow on the draw to pick to actually have it assign you another one, we've actually seen cases and situations where people come and say, I lost my house because I wanted to change and now I can't get another one. It's like, yeah, sorry, you're going to have to wait for some more inventory to open up.
That's a shame.
So we're hoping to do away with that system, so that you can actually have a chance at picking and choosing where you want to be, instead of just being randomly assigned. But again, that'll also be dictated by if people get there first, they're going to get the first pick.
Right. Good. Now, Kenny Luckless was asking, have you left any patch dollars around in SL15B? What are patch dollars?
There might be. You'll have to find them.
Tell me what they are, please.
You didn't find them in like PaleoQuest and stuff? I thought you would have found them.
I got killed too much. So
there's an inside running joke about Tree Fitty, and it happens to be it looks like a bill, $1, it's like a Tree Fitty bill, and it has my face on it, and we tend to hide them like an Easter egg in various projects. Right. And if you get them, can you spend them, or do you just kind of take them home and pin them to your wall? It's just a collectible type of a thing. I don't even know if they always I don't even know if we've made them like where they hand themselves out. I just know that you can find them. Okay. And I was going to ask both of you, do you have Linden bears? I do. In fact, I've had people asking me for it, and I've been giving it to them. Okay.
Yep, me too.
Okay, good. So yeah, get your bears. And remember to check out Bear Island here. Okay, last names, when are they coming back? Are you able to answer that, or is that...
I can answer it. It's very soon. The work and the framework and stuff like that to actually make it happen is almost done. Maybe within the next couple of months, few months, if I had to just take a finger in the air guess at it. Oz might be able to speak to this a little bit closer than I can, but it's moving along. It's going to be a reality, folks, and I think you're going to really like it.
Good. Good. Okay. This is nice. Lenny Foxtrot has said, for being here with us in your Linden Avies, you make us feel like a bigger part of our community. When we can talk like this, it rocks. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I actually really enjoy spending a lot of time out and about, and in fact, for those of you who probably have noticed over the past few days, I've been spending a lot of time over in the Pride regions, so, the various events and stuff like that happen, especially in the evening. In fact, I've been over there pretty much kind of from about 4 SLT on until 8, 9 o'clock. I've been over there every night kind of chatting with folks and stuff like that, answering questions, kind of hanging out and socializing. So, if you happen to pass by, say hi.
Someone asks, will the value of I get username my UID change if I change my last name?
Okay, so as I understand it, and this is probably another technical question for Oz, we're going to actually keep a chain of authority on UUIDs and names, so that you can actually, if you're writing a script or something of that nature, you'll actually have the ability to use the UUID lookup to actually get the username and all of the usernames that historically have been associated with that UUID in the past.
Right. Good.
That's kind of the best explanation I can offer from a semi-non-technical standpoint.
Right. I think Kenny Lux has voiced something that actually reflects the attitude of a lot of Second Life people, which is we want everything now.
Of course.
So do we.
Now, I have had a few requests about groups and land. Can I ask them?
Sure.
Okay. More estate managers, because of big events like Fantasy Fair, for example, we have to keep.
Or how about SL15B?
Or SL15B, absolutely.
Coming.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we've got a suite of. So you may be familiar with the fact that we just actually launched the ability for you to do like region restarts from the webpage. That's part of the start of a series of estate management tool enhancements that we're working on. And like increasing estate managers is one of them.
Excellent. A lot of people. Someone asks, are all previous last names going to be available at once?
No, they will not.
My understanding was
a name is retired is a name is retired, and no, you can't have it. Mm-hmm. That's something that I will fiercely protect to the end. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And something else that has been talked about. Would it be possible to have a short amnesty on changing land parcels around, and announced in advance so people can plan to do this? Because at the moment it's quite expensive to move your island. And it was just an idea that perhaps there could be an amnesty on people being able to do it.
I feel like maybe I'm missing a little bit of context. Amnesty on moving parcels between other mainland parcels?
No. Islands, private islands. Because if you've got an island at the moment and you want to move it to another place on the grid, and both of you want to do it, you still have to pay, I can't remember how much it is, but you have to pay a sum of money to get your island moved from A to B.
Well, right. So moving a region on the grid is, I mean, that's operationally a, kind of like a service charge, right? That we have implemented, years and years back, to go take your region from one point to another. I still don't quite maybe understand how an amnesty would factor into that. I mean, we do have special cases sometimes that we consider where if, a region needs to be moved from one place on the grid to another because there's not enough room and you want to bolt another region to it and there's not enough space, we will do that at no charge. We will also move a region that's located in the red zone. If you're familiar with what that is, there's a protected area that surrounds most of the mainland continents that we don't allow people to buy or place new regions in. That's the red zone. But a lot of old islands exist in this zone, and we will actually move regions out of the red zone for free so that, again, you can kind of expand or add to them if you want. The only other times that I've ever seen the need to actually waive the fee for moving an island is, in cases of extreme hardship for some reason, case by case type basis stuff, but it's really rare. I mean, so I can't really think of a lot of cases where, if you want to move your region from one point to the other, there's no real reason to do it for any other reason beyond the fact that you're looking to add more regions to it and you're out of space. And we will do that.
Okay, great.
I hope that answers the question.
It does. Thank you. Another point, this is something I've discussed with you before, and I just wondered if there's been any movement on it, which is about having more layered and separated roles within groups. Because at the moment, for an event like this, you have to join about 5 groups. There's the exhibitors, there's the general group, there's the builders, there's the press, there's the performers, and it could be really useful to be able to have that all in one group, as the number of groups you can join are limited, but be able then to sort of stack, so that you could send a message to one particular subset of that group. I know we've talked about it with Joe Yardley. I just wondered if there was any movement on that one.
I don't recall seeing anything on it recently. I do know that there's been some focus on more groups again.
Oh, that would be nice.
So more groups for premiums, for example. I know that that's been on the table. I don't think I've seen much in the way of retooling like that within groups. I know it's not enough. the whole group thing's kind of tricky because and it's the same thing with like increasing groups, because what a lot of people don't know is in the technical guts of the simulator, one of the things that happens when you actually teleport or cross a region border, going in and out of regions and stuff, all of your assets that are bolted onto your avatar, so attachments and stuff like that, along with your groups and your inventory and everything like that, has to transfer from host to host. So you've got to imagine, we basically have to, in as fast a time as possible, package all of that up, ship it across the region border or with your teleport, and then you have to re-download it like in a big rush as soon as you land on the ground, as it were, at your destination. And groups, for whatever reason, just kind of exponentially kind of complicate that. So anytime we talk about touching groups and increasing sizes, we have to put a lot of thought into, that like the that we're not going to harm the performance of like teleports and region border crossings and stuff like that, which has always kind of been a tricky thing to balance in Second Life. And we usually try to find some sort of a technical win to help like, clear some debt, as it were. And, we'll find this one thing that's kind of like, oh, wow, if we did this one thing to fix this piece of the code in the teleporting infrastructure or something of that nature, it will like save us 30% time, and we can then apply that back to, we can now give you 100 groups and it not phase you. So that's kind of how we tend to walk that balance.
Right. So you're thinking of more kind of horizontal groups rather than making the potential for groups to be vertical, if you see what I mean. Yeah.
It's interesting because I haven't actually dug into what you're speaking to, but it's kind of a fascinating idea because, if you could more efficiently use groups in that manner, in theory, I guess you could have less.
And it wouldn't be such a problem when you cross sim regions.
Right.
Okay. I'm being asked, how far are you moving with the cloud, and when do you expect it to happen?
Is
this an Oz question?
That is very much an Oz question. I don't sit in that particular circle of engineering speak with them. I mean, I know what's going on, of course, because I have to. But as far as keeping track of like the deadlines and what we're aiming at and where the darts are going to land on the board, that's Oz.
Okay. There was a question about whether we would have, do you see stock exchanges and banks, maybe banks or other public service places becoming a thing? And I'm thinking, well, I remember back in 2007 when there were some appalling things happening with stock exchanges. I don't know if you can remember that too.
Oh, yes. So, the federal regulatory landscape has significantly changed, and it has, in fact, impacted certain things within Second Life. Some people...
What is up, my niggas? Oh, yeah! What is going on, bro? Patch Linden is a fucking nigger. Oh, bro. What is going on, homie? High five, man. Hey, Patch Linden. Suck me out, bro. I love you. In fact, while I'm over here, why don't you come a little closer and kiss me on the mouth, you
Changes that are running here were just gambling.
Some may have been. It all depends. Some were, some didn't. Some were genuinely operating, in the interest of, kind of doing banking and trying interest and stuff like that.
Will Lindens be offering saleable, as in yachts and that kind of saleable regions that we don't have to hunt down ourselves? I'm not quite sure what this means because Blake Sea.
Right. There's the Blake Sea, and all of the water, regions that we place around all of the various mainland continents. There's lots of waterways and stuff that are discoverable. You can find the maps for these various places and such, usually in the wiki within the LDPW section. If you ever want to check them out, there's a lot of that information available in there. Sometimes it's just a case of pointing folks to the right place to actually find this information. So, there you go.
Use the wiki. Sean is asking, is there any way that group notices being sent while a user is offline doesn't cap IMs? And says, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's capped because of notices when I log on, having then missed IMs from customers, etc. I know there is the option to get IMs to emails. However, I'm asleep when not online, so don't see the emails. I'm not sure. Sure.
Be a premium account member.
Yeah.
Because then you get all of your IMs to email, and that includes the group notices going to email.
Right.
That's one of the benefits or the perks that came with it that we put into it about. Gosh, was it a year ago already now? I'd have to look. I'd have to go back and find the blog post where we added that.
Lambskin has asked a couple of times, will there be any efforts to modernize the renderer? I think that this is again an Oz question.
It is, and there is some work going on there. We're also looking at some other things too that probably will have inroads to mobile. So there's some exciting things that are probably coming up around the corner regarding that.
Someone's asking, can you purchase a month of premium, or do you need to purchase it only if it's renewable?
So premium accounts are basically, as a product, they are a renewable product. So what you can do is if you only want a month, you can go sign up for a premium account for 1 month and then turn around and cancel it within, I think you could probably cancel it the next day, and you will still maintain the premium account status until that term ends, and then you'll drop back down to having a basic account at the end of that.
Caroline Patch has said that they are considering adding more groups.
Yep.
Alaska says, maybe this is an Oz question, but is there any way to allow outside access to contact someone within Second Life, either from social media or email?
Again, mobile. We're thinking about that in a mobile sense.
Right. Okay, great. Right. Now, this is something I'm asking several people. So I'm going to start with Keira. And then bring you in, Patch. How do you feel that Second Life can be promoted internally with events? For example, people not knowing things and needing to find out more. So internally and externally to kind of promote Second Life. What do you think we can do as residents to help?
As residents, I was going to say, the first step is for us as Lindens to get involved as well. We can do a lot of promoting for different types of events that are going on, and we love to show up at events and just hang out with people, as I just talked about before. In terms of residents, destination guide, always apply to get your event or your region up in the destination guide. That's always a good place to start to promote it.
And externally?
Boy, externally. I've been involved in Community Gateway, and we have a lot of, one of the requirements in there is to have a website that kind of promotes your community, get people involved and get web traffic registered through your own website. So, websites are a great way on linking up with as many other people as possible. Twitter is big. Instagram is huge. Facebook not so much anymore these days. But yeah, I'd hit up social media, Twitter and Instagram for sure.
Mm. Well, any other ideas, Patch?
Well, yeah, I mean, so, like, I actually had been avoiding, myself, like, the whole Facebook Flickr thing. I finally, like, succumbed to the ways. And if you even look at my profile right now, I have my Facebook and my Flickr, stream in my profile. I also have a Plurk account. So I've actually been getting more actively involved externally, with promoting Second Life out in social media circles. I think it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of people, starting to kind of re-engage and ask questions. I've even had people approach me saying, "Oh wow, like Second Life looks so much better than it used to. I'm like going to come back and check it out," and especially in the context of the birthday as well. They're like, "It's 15 years old, and I want to come see it." So that's been a lot of the drive there, to kind of push me even out there a little bit further. But, between that and, just, in general, when I talk to people in person, people ask me what I do, and I explain it to them, and, I talk about it at length to educate, and I take that kind of educational stance with it, so that they can hopefully learn and understand what it's all about. The video I created about what does Second Life mean to me is also a very powerful tool in my arsenal that I will point people to and show, so that it kind of gives them a good kind of like 2.5 minute overview of the power behind Second Life and what it means to a lot of us. So, basically getting out there and putting that stuff in front of people, I think is probably one of the best things that I do and what everyone can do to, promote Second Life and keep it alive.
And a question from Diamond Merchant. Are you sympathetic to the wish of those who sail to connecting the mainland continents with waterways?
Absolutely. I don't have any real plans to expand upon what we already have, because we do already have a lot, between the Blake Sea, et cetera, et cetera. And, with the way the continents are kind of positioned, they don't really lend themselves necessarily for us to build like bridges between them. But it's something that I might be willing to take a look at. And the impossible kind of task is like, I couldn't move like a mainland continent. What happens when we go to move regions on the grid is it can take up to 72 hours for the region to actually be realized that it's been moved from one point on the grid map to another, and that makes it very difficult for people to actually find their region, and all sorts of other weird, bizarre things happen until the map does update within that kind of time frame. So, I wish I could like basically take like one of the continents, just like move it or shift it just like 5 spaces west or east or north, just to kind of get them closer to make it a little more feasible to kind of build that kind of waterway bridge between them. But because we can't, it's kind of a tricky, issue to tackle. But I don't know if somebody has an idea about, the nearest continents to one another and how I could maybe bridge them together with better waterways or something. I'm all ears. I'm always willing to listen to them. I have 4 of them. See, people, 4. In fact, I think I was just called out on the forums the other day because I have 4 ears. I'm willing to listen.
Right. Okay, quick questions coming in now. Has Linden Labs ever looked at television advertising to push their product to more users, such as cable venues like sci-fi and science channels?
I don't know. I've not been in on that type of a conversation with marketing before. I can say that my involvement with marketing and such has been more on the kind of in the real world, like kind of con type stuff. We had a brilliant idea actually kind of thrown out on Monday or yesterday with Drax and stuff, and that was to kind of create our own Linden channel or our Linden network, kind of do like a YouTube like streaming channel TV type of a thing, or something of that nature. And I thought it was a really kind of brilliant idea, and it's something that I'm kind of percolating on and formulating ideas on, because I have a wonderful content creation team who actually also does video work, and it's something that I don't know. As far as like mainstream TV and media is concerned, that's kind of up to marketing. I would always support anything we would do there, and help in any way I can. But that's kind of out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think there's also the question that you are a worldwide organization, and if you spend a lot of your advertising on TV channels in the US, you're actually cutting down your marketing rather than opening it up.
Right.
Whereas advertising in the margins of things like YouTube, newspapers may be more cost effective. Someone else has said, how about game cards, like the ones you see at Walmart or grocery stores, prepaid cards?
We get that question kind of frequently, and it's kind of tricky, to basically try to do something with putting inventory onto a retailer's shelf takes a lot of, overhead, as it were. Something like running out and having, a bazillion of those cards produced and then distributing them somehow and, getting your little shelf space and stuff, that's all a fairly costly endeavor. What we traditionally have done is pointed people to, and unfortunately there's no real rhyme or reason to why this is or isn't successful. The next kind of better thing is kind of like the prepaid Visa cards and stuff, but a lot of times we don't have too much luck with them. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I know traditionally, like the Euro prepaid visas are really bad about not working with the various payment processors and stuff. So it's really kind of hit or miss, and I don't even like suggesting them. But as like a last case scenario, I'll say like you could try this, but I just don't have a lot of faith in it. If you're thinking of it from a gifting perspective, like, hey, I want to gift my friend like a premium account membership type of a thing for a month, we actually have ways that we can do that. We can't actually do it through US dollar transactions and stuff, but we can actually do it through Linden dollars. And that's a special support request and a one-off type of a thing that we've handled in the past, where somebody will gift somebody else a membership. But it's something that we're open to exploring if that's more the use case than it is just having a way to, run into a store and buy a prepaid card just because. If it's more of a gifting type thing, I think that's something we could actually work through a lot easier from that perspective because, most people can buy Linden dollars, most people can give Linden dollars, and we can take them. So,
Yeah, very happy to, yeah. We've had a few more questions, but we have already gone over the hour. How are you two placed? Can you take a few more questions?
I'm fine to take a few more, Keira. I don't know about you. It's up to you.
I'm good too.
Okay. Someone says, if I have, well, this I think is probably a Keira question. If I have a mainland parcel that I wish to donate to be a protected access between open water and a causeway, is that possible?
Well, anything's possible. We don't typically do stuff like that. We don't like to modify mainland too much from where it's at. Typically, we get the opposite request. But that's definitely something that we would entertain. So I would say go ahead and send in a support ticket and put it to my attention. And I'll take a look at it, and we'll see.
Okay. Ebelis is saying that he would love to see a search filter on Marketplace to filter for the specific item sold to have redeliveries or updates more easily released for Marketplace sales. Was this something that would ever be implemented?
That's probably a grumpy question.
Okay.
It's a neat idea. I like it because, I buy a lot of stuff on the Marketplace. I mean, I try to shop in World first. And or sometimes I do some primary searches in the Marketplace and then I try to find it in World. So those of you who have your Marketplace only setups and no store in World, I tend to actually shy away from that because supporting the economy in Second Life, supporting people coming to a location in Second Life is all part of the experience and socialization and stuff socialization and stuff, and also it's kind of core to what Second Life is supposed to be. I tend to gravitate towards, the creators and the merchants and stuff like that who have an in-world presence or a dual presence, which seems to work really well for a lot of people. Having the ability to kind of better refine, like your purchases and searching and stuff like that, I know is something that's always been pretty high on everyone's wish list of improvements for the marketplace in general. So I know Grumpity's been thinking a lot about that off and on. And so that's, mostly in her wheelhouse with the product stuff for that.
Okay. And she's coming on Thursday, so you can ask her about that then.
I'm hoping she'll make it.
Yeah, because I know she's not very well at the moment, so I'm crossing my fingers. A question about groups. When a group is disbanded, the group name doesn't return to the pool of available group names when someone wants to create a group with that same name. Would it be possible to change that in the future?
I don't know if it could be automated. There might be something we could do through support process that could recover group names. Because we do have access to them, we can change them, we can modify them, etc. Kind of like region names, we can change and modify them. I don't think I've ever really had that question asked before, so I might be interested in exploring just how much of a need or desire or want there is for that, before I maybe go and set up a process around catering to it. But again, I'm always open to suggestions for improvements and ideas, and I always like to explore them. So I'm definitely, open to taking a look at it.
Right. This is a question from M. Capolini. Keira, this may be one for you. Some time ago, there used to be a list returned when you did an in-world search that would give the exact coordinates on the region of the item you searched. Are you planning on bringing that back?
I don't know if we were planning on bringing that back or not.
I don't think I have seen any discussion about it either.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something we can bring up if that's something that everybody uses and it finds it useful. But yeah, right now I don't know that that's on the table anywhere.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that you file a ticket and a support ticket asking for this. Is it better, can I ask you both, is it better to file a support ticket than to start a JIRA these days?
If it's something that's going to need a JIRA, we can absolutely look into it first and then advise, hey, this is something that would be best done as a JIRA. If you've looked through JIRA and you can't find anything in there on it, you might want to hit us up first. We can take a look and see if we can find it, and then we'll say, hey, go ahead and file a JIRA on this. I don't see it that it's existed right now.
And then people can support it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, we certainly don't mind kind of being the frontline filter for that type of stuff and kind of trying to see what we can do to help find it and support it. You never know if it's something that we think is just a, fantastic idea. Might gain more traction too if we go, yeah, you know what, this is a really good idea.
Baron de la Bavette has said it would be nice to have an option to subscribe to favourite stores in the marketplace to receive messages when new stuffs are available. I'm actually going to say to that most stores I know do have groups of one kind or another. They'll either have a group or a subscriber-matic, and they should be telling you when they're putting out new stuff through their groups or their subscribers. And if they're not, go and tell them that you want them to do it.
Yeah, so actually I'm with everything I track as far as, avatar stuff is concerned, I am in a handful, of course, of various groups and stuff like that, especially like the monthly fashion stuff that happens, the events and stuff. But a lot of them also run the kind of the subscription systems and stuff that don't even require you to have a group. Where it's just kind of like an automated scripted system that just drops you a direct IM and stuff in World that basically says, hey, such and such is released, blah, blah, blah. And that's actually something that can save those group slots too. When the creators actually leverage that as a tool for their business. So between that and, yes, actual update groups that belong to the various brands, Facebook. I've found a lot of the brands and stuff on Facebook and they actually, run their updates there too. It's in the creator's best interest, of course, to kind of broadly publish in as many places as they can that, hey, I've released this new thing and I want the world to know about it. So using all of those tools at their disposal, is definitely beneficial to them. Doing it through the marketplace, that's another tool, right, that could potentially become available to them. I don't know if it's something that, has been widely requested of us or not, but again, it could be one of those feature suggestions that maybe goes into, any kind of marketplace discussion that Grumpy or Oz might have on, their Meet the Linden talk.
A couple of people have said that the trouble with Facebook is that it asks you to use your real life name. And that's difficult for people. If you're trying to find someone, you won't know that they are Patch Linton or whatever if they're having to use their real name. I can mention my experience here, which is that my Facebook is in my real life name, but I actually have a Facebook page for Sapphire Editions, and anyone can make a page which is the name of their avatar, and they can put out information. And when I post on that page, I post not as my real life name, but as Sapphire Editions.
I've seen people take both approaches too. Not only that, but also actually just creating a standalone Facebook account where your real life name is Patch Linden. It's Patch Linden. That's my name.
But you can get kicked off Facebook for doing that. I think we've all known.
There's risk.
Yeah, there is risk with that. Whereas the page where you don't get friends, you get followers, but it is safe. There's no problem with that. Okay. Is there, this from Peet, is there the possibility that VR might intrude again in Second Life?
I don't know. Also an Oz question. I don't know how the attempts that we've made with it in the past and stuff have had various degrees of success, and one of the of course the big things about VR is you've got to have super high frame rate. Now granted, I don't typically have issues with motion sickness in VR headsets, and in fact, you may remember when we first brought out the Halloween Haunted Tour, we had two versions of it. One of them was specific to the VR version of Second Life. We were able to hook up like the Oculus, stuff like that, to the viewer, and go through that as kind of like a first-person dark ride experience. And then, of course, there's the regular version. Well, if you were at all sensitive to any kind of motion sickness with the lower frames that the viewer was putting through the headset, you pretty much instantly find yourself over a trash can. Or you had someone like me who was like, wow, this is great, and I could make it all the way through 3 times over and not have a problem. So it tended to be really extreme for people. It went one way or the other. And it unfortunately seemed to go the bad way more frequently. So again, kind of speaking to, I think there was a question earlier about, the renderer and work that might be done there. If all of that were to come together at some point in time in the future, it's a possibility that it could be explored again. But, I'm probably not the person to say or dictate when that might be or how long it'll take us.
Another question is, have you considered bringing Second Life to consoles as well, such as Xbox and PlayStation?
No. Adult content.
Aha. Right. Okay. I think we're actually running out of questions. Thank you both for being happy to have so many questions shot at you.
Sure. And if anybody ever has any questions or anything like that, send them over to me. I am me. I'll try to catch them if I can, or email me. The email addresses aren't that hard to figure out. I am patch@lindenlab.com, and I'm more than happy to chat with you. Or if you happen to be out and about over the next week or so, especially both here in the SLB regions or over at the SL Pride region and stuff, you'll find me there, especially in the evenings, spending a few hours there every night.
Right, and Keira, thank you as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today. Really enjoyed it.
Good. It's been great to have you both. I always love having you to chat to, Patch. And Keira, it's been great to meet you. This is, I think, our first chat, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's our first one. I'm usually back behind the scenes.
But not our last, I'm sure.
I would like that.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We're getting lots of thank yous from the audience. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming here today. And I'd like to also do a shout out to Ziola, who's been watching nervously from the wings, and Dawny and Zelm, who've been our stage managers and have kept things running smoothly. So thank you guys both very much. Tomorrow it's the Ebby chat. I suggest you probably will want to get here early, because that could get quite full. But I look forward to seeing you all again. And Thursday, it's going to be Patch and hopefully Grumpety if she's better.
Awesome.
And then Friday, it's going to be Brett. So keep on coming. Keep your questions coming. And thank you so much for being here.
Yes, absolutely. And one more thank you from me, by the way, to Ziola and the marketing team and everything like that, and you all as well, and all of the SLB community staff and stuff like that for helping us put this together this year. It's been really great.
Right, so I'm going to close my chat down. Okay, bye everyone for tonight.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.